All right. Good picture. Okay, thanks. I need a, that, yes, thank you.
A celebration in the street will be arriving in just 15 minutes. You'll reach for the stars. The sights you're going to see are far beyond your wildest dreams. So make a wish and believe in your dreams. The moment is coming when magic happens.
Llamando a todos los soñadores. Acérquense todos. Está a punto de estallar una celebración por las calles en tan solo 15 minutos.
What's a picture of? What's a picture of?
The Oscar Blaster's out.
Won't see easy, Lord.
Please let me go, please. Quick, hurry up.
Don't leave yet.
Welcome. Grab a pedal as you head on down first.
Thank you.
I hear it. Alrighty, folks, please remain seated. Keep your hands, arms, fingers, and paddles inside the boat all the time. Parents, watch your children. Children, watch your parents give up. Keep crying. Please pay attention to Angelo. How's everybody doing, yo? Good. Good. All right. I'm good too. Thanks for asking, guys. Paddles up, guys. Get out your inside head here by the fish tail. Palm like this, guys. Outside by the plate right here on the left. Okay? Count to three. Everybody stroke again. 1, 2, 3. Stroke. Go. Guys, welcome to the famous Davy Crockett's Canoes, y'all. My name's Angelo. I'm going to be with you guys for the next fun 45 minutes. 25 for our best. My best friend in the back is going to be giving us until the end. Her name is Lily. Everybody say howdy, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
Welcome aboard. Remember to keep on paddling.
That's right, friends. That's your number one rule, guys. Keep paddling, because if we ain't going, we ain't going. This is a real canoe. There's no tracks, no nothing. So stand it's over. Alrighty, roll number 2, guys. No standing up for 20 feet. One of you guys fall off the canoe. Me and my best friend in the back will raise the right hand and wave goodbye, guys. Alright. Can anybody tell me what color it's on? That's right, bro. This water's dirty, guys. It used to be blue and clear. After I took 50 showers. Alright, friends, you guys want to go faster? There we go. Let's go faster.
Everybody else stay power in front of you. See what they do. There's a waterfall. I know, I'm just saying. Stay the same with everybody else, buddy. Oh. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, I'm faster.
distance away from this boat. We're not trying to get crushed tonight, y'all. First timers here today? First timers?
Yeah.
So guys.
I've never done this before. Been here so many times.
Alrighty, my friends, paddles up. You guys are going to go 5 good strokes, okay? 5 good strokes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Take another break, y'all. What is their break, y'all?
Oh, the train is right there. I don't know, there's train tracks right there. That or it's for moving stuff.
You guys want to see the difference between Jungle Cruise and Canoes, y'all?
Yeah.
Hello! The animatronics, they wait back, y'all! That's why Cruise is better. So much better. That's Tom Sawyer's Island to your right. Also known as Disney Daycare, guys. You guys can leave your kids there, go grab a drink or two at August Cantina. But don't forget to pick them up at 5 p.m. because if you don't, we take those kids all the way to Small Road, glue them to their feet. That's where they're going to be in for the rest of their lives, y'all. Alright. Just waiting for that big boat behind us to pass by, y'all.
I guess it is a...
You look towards your left-hand side, we have 2 plastic cougars. Right there. I'll tell you the last time I saw 2 plastic cougers at Laguna Beach. Little bunch of right, little bunch of jokes. Yes. Alright. 3 good strokes. Okay, guys, paddles up. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3. Alright. Small break for you guys. You guys feel that breeze? Not from how fast we're going, I'll tell you that. Alright, friends, we got good news and bad news. Good news is, we're halfway there. Give yourself a round of applause, yo. Bad news is, we're still halfway there, yo. Here's the thing about the second part. We're going to be entering what is known as pool public view, guys. We live here in Orange County. People will be watching. People will be judging, okay? So I need you guys to paddle hard and smile. Make it seem like this ride is working to ride. You guys ready or what?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, and 3. Stroke. Stroke. And stroke. Just don't get it too like you trying to get it through this. Almost there, guys. Almost there. Whoa. Go back and work out the other side, too. Alrighty, my friends, give me 3 more good strokes, okay? Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Paddles up, friends. Paddles up, dead center. Turn the canoe like this, guys. Inside the canoe. Turn the bottom, y'all. Alrighty, friends, please maintain it. And follow the bodies. Follow the way. Alrighty, my friends. I'm going to tell you guys what my dad told me when I turned 18, y'all. Get up. Come on now, this way, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much. You too. Thank you. See y'all never. Thank you. People only make fun of me. You know what I mean? Sure doesn't know what that's like. People only make fun of me once.
Yeah, Mom, I did not need that much.
I've never done that. Somebody said like they were missing a couple of flight attendants, and I was like, I got you. I'm on my way. I'll be there as soon as I can.
All ahead, 1/3. G'day, this is the captain speaking. Now that we're underway, I'd like to welcome you aboard. As the conditions of our voyage may be unpredictable, please remain seated at all times. Stand by to dive.
Diving station.
Main induction closed. Pressure in the boat. Float the main ballast tanks. Set course directly over the lost city. Thanks. Stand by for weather watch. Our destination today is quite extraordinary. An early erupting deep volcano. Even here in the shallows, we can see evidence of such geothermal forces constantly at work. You can tell by our surroundings that they can make some pretty dramatic changes to the landscape. These remnants of an ancient civilization were hidden for centuries beneath the ocean floor, hidden until unearthed by a tremendous volcanic event. As we leave this long-lost community behind, we're about to enter a community of a different kind. The coral reef that surrounds us is a biological community that thrives in warm, shallow waters. It usually takes more than a year for a coral to grow only 1 inch. An amazing fact when you consider that Australia's Great Barrier Reef stretches over 2,000 kilometres.
Take it down faster today. All controls, 8 degrees down.
Down 80.
Set course to 70 degrees true. Steady as she goes.
The fish world has always been considered a silent habitat. But now, thanks to remarkable advances in marine technology, we can use instruments such as our sonar hydrophones to actually hear the fish talk.
Where are you, son? 2 degrees.
Mr. Ray, we can't explore without Nemo.
I'm sure we'll see him any minute now.
Nemo!
Oh, science is great. There's so much to know. I'm for explorers. It's time to go.
What if Nemo's swimming out the Nemo?
Oh, don't worry. Just keep eyes open along the way.
Yes, dude. He'll be like, whoa. He's like, whoa. Let's go. Follow me to the EC. Nemo. Oh, lost. Nemo.
Captain, we're approaching the EAC.
Hold her steady, take her into the car. All hands standard. The powerful flow of the East Australian current is like an undersea highway. Many creatures can be found commuting in this current, including the majestic sea turtle.
Welcome to the EAC, Minnie Marlin.
This is fun! We're gonna hit the
That's
This is not funny, and I know funny. I'm a clownfish. Nemo!
It's a big, sunken butt. See?
Where are you, Nemo? I am looking for my son.
Oh, I can help. Oh,
It's Nemo.
where?
I don't know. That's why we're trying to find him.
My who?
My son, Nemo. You know that.
I do.
We went on a huge adventure together, which you don't remember at all.
Is he orange with white stripes and looks kind of like you, only smaller?
Yes, have you seen him?
Seen who?
Don't worry, I'm not going to eat you, at least not all at once.
No, Bruce, remember the pledge.
Right then. I am a nice shark, not a mindless eating machine. People are friends, not food. Right then, mates. Easy does it. You would want one of these balloons.
Secure all stations. System check.
Oh, steady, sir.
Right. Let's resume speed.
All ahead, full.
Race you there! Go!
Dory!
Wait!
What?
I see pretty lights.
I see them too.
Reach for the light.
It's getting closer.
Something touched me!
It's me.
How do I know it's you? It could be anybody.
It's not anything. It's me.
Do I know you?
Dory!
Talk about a small world. My name's Dory, too.
What's that? Looks like...
Me first. I'm thinking of something pink and bouncy that looks like a balloon.
Jellyfish!
Right. Okay, now I'm thinking of something green and kind of cool.
That's jellyfish!
You're good. And I'm thinking...
Jellyfish! And the next one, jellyfish!
All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. Boy.
Stop playing games!
Come on, it's fun.
No, Dory! I'd like to a party! Let's go!
I love parties. I found the hot tub.
It's not about finding hot tubs. It's about finding Nemo! Nemo, I found you! I was so worried! We survived the volcano, Nemo! Nemo, say something!
Can we do it again, Dad? Huh? Can we?
Oh, of course, when fish can fly.
I found Chico!
Nemo! It's Nemo! Hey, Nemo! Hey, girl! We saw a huge volcano go kaboom! Oh, you made me eat! Volcano!
Oh, give me some food. Noggin.
Dude! This is a real movie. It's real. Then why's that whale eating that yellow submarine, dude? Whoa! That's one hungry whale. Sandy Plankton's never gonna believe this.
Does it smell kind of whalish to you? Is it me? a yellow whale! Wait, stop! Bye! Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do we do? Swim, swim, swim. Bye!
Crikey!
Should I enter any of this into the log?
No, mate, forget it. Nobody would believe it anyway. We better take her up before we have a run-in with a sea serpent or an encounter with a mermaid.
Aye, aye, Captain.
We are surfacing and approaching our home port. We've enjoyed having you aboard on this adventurous voyage. Thanks for joining us and have a top day. Station and maneuvering watch. Rig ship for mooring.
Reducing speed and proceeding to berth 290. Stand by to dock.
All ahead 1/3. Stand by the mooring lines. Now folks, when the cabin lights come on, please stand and disembark to your right. Take small children by the hand and watch your step up the ladder. Please use the handrail. All ashore please. Check you later.
We're going this way. We're going this way, Martin. Let's go.
Gotta be allowed.
Okay, bag. Why would you take his bag out?
Hey! Give me a dick.
Welcome aboard the
Here, hold on. Maya. Here, baby. Myra. Hold on.
outside railing, and be sure to watch your foot. You don't want to be pushing hands on altitude. Also, there should be no fires or smoking on board. Thank you. And now, here's a few words from the first mate. Bienvenidos a bordo. Para su seguridad, no se sienten asegúrense de vigilar a sus hijos y absténganse de fumar. Gracias.
Why do you have microphones on? Why do you have microphones on?
Thank you.
Dogs! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, I see right now.
Engine room. Ahead, engine room. I had 3 quarters. Letchman, sound off.
That's the Lesbian calling out the deck party so we can avoid running aground. Mark Twain is not just the name of a riverboat or a great American author. It also means the water here is 2 fathoms deep. That means it's safe enough for us to proceed on our steam-powered journey along the rivers of America. On our trip, we'll visit the magnificent Columbia of the Great Northwest, the graceful Missouri of the windswept plains, and the rugged Rio Grande along the border of Texas and Mexico. I'll be sure to point out interesting sights along the way, and even tell you about a legend or two. We begin our trip right here on the mighty Mississippi, heading south and ending up down in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
New Orleans is rich in history, music, good food, and ghost stories. One of those stories involves the old mansion you see over there on the hill. We're now passing Fowler's Harbor. This is homeport for the 3-masted windjammer, the Columbia, the first American ship to circumnavigate the globe. It's a bit mystical. Columbia set sail from Boston Harbor in 1787. She rounded Cape Horn and became the first American ship to carry the stars and stripes around the world. Beyond those levee walls on the port side is the bayou, future home of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Princess Tiana swears there's magic out there. And wherever you find magic, you're bound to find surprises. Blue skies and sunshine guaranteed. It's not quite finished yet, but we're almost there.
All the ducks are just... Oh, my God!
Barrels are up the pathways.
While you're in Critter Country, you might want to grab a paddle and try your hand at the Explorer Canoes. You can work up a real good sweat rowing one of those around the river. Me? I'll take the comfort of the Mark Twain Riverboat any day. Islands of America, you're in for a real treat. I've been navigating these parks for years now, but I never get tired of taking in the breathtaking beauty of the Columbia River. The majestic trees, the stunning rock formations, the cascading waterfalls, the moose, deer, and elk along the banks. It's all so magnificent and so peaceful. That means we're all clear as we head up the Missouri River to the home of the Plains Indians. It's a legend the Lakota have passed down from generation to generation. And there, just beyond the shaman, is a tribe of Plains Indians setting up their camp along the banks of the river. They'll be here for a few months and then move on. As we continue our journey, keep a close eye on the riverbanks. There's a good chance we might catch a glimpse of moose, mountain lions, and other wildlife.
Be careful with that phone.
Side is Pirate's Bay at Tom Sawyer Island. Young Tom always said he wanted to be a pirate, and I think I see why. If you're a pirate, you don't need to get up early in the morning to go to school, and you never have to wash your face and hands. All you have to do is just look for treasure all day long. At least that's what Tom Sawyer thought. Civilization along the Rio Grande. Off in the distance are the towering buttes of Big Thunder Mountain. Rumor has it that the railroad railroad built to haul gold out of the mountain has been seized by supernatural forces. And they've turned the mining trains into the wildest ride in the wilderness. Of course, that may be just another legend of the world. Just ahead is the Frontierland, where our journey is. On behalf of our entire crew, I'd like to thank you for booking passage on the Twain Riverboat. At this time, we ask that you prepare to disembark. If you're on one of the other decks, please make your way down to the first deck. The stairways to the right side and the back of the boat may offer the quickest and easiest route. We hope you enjoyed your voyage with us and that you'll visit us again real soon.
Ahí viene.
Yeah, but you need
gonna be one wild ride.
Come on in!
Holy smokes, Roger! We've been there!
He's pouring the dip, boys. Well done.
Danger! Warning! Warning! Danger!
Hey! Let go of me!
Something to forget me by.
A portable hole! Oh, hey, that!
Please remain seated. Your cab will begin moving in just a moment. Please remain seated. Your cab will begin moving in just a moment.
Thanks for joining us today.
Okay, I'll see you guys. I'm gonna take the black stroller. Yeah.
Okay. Watch your fingers, boys. Okay. Go on. Walk, walk, walk.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I, your circus ringmaster, now present for you the one, the only, Casey Jr. In a moment, he is going to take the wild animals, that's you, on a trip around Storybook Land. For a safe trip, please stay seated in your cages on cars while we're rolling, and keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. Oh, and remember to watch your children too. All aboard! Let's go! Coming down the track, coming down the track with a smoky stack. Big profit coming round the hill. Casey's here to fill every jacket too. Every time his funny little whistle sounds, everybody hurries through the circus grounds. Time for lemonade and cracker jack. Casey Jr.'s back. Casey Jr.'s back. Every time his funny little whistle sounds, everybody hurries to the circus grounds. Time for lemonade and cracker. say to the animals, that's the end of the lion. Fantasyland! Fantasyland Station!
This is fancy.
I'll do that.
Come on, babe. Come on, good.
We're not going to do it.
Look, the last one I thought was going to get scary, but it's pretty good. And you think this one's
Yeah, baby?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Disneyland Opera House. I'd like to invite everyone to the back lobby to experience our special presentation about Frederick Douglass. This 9-minute video was produced by the National Geographic Society and will be preceding our main presentation of Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. As a friendly reminder, open food and beverages are not permitted inside the theater as well as strollers. If you do have a child stroller, please park your outside the main entrance doors. We also like to reserve the center portion of our theaters for our guests in wheelchairs, ACVs, and members of their party. They can access these seats by going to the center doors right below the brass eagle. Again, folks, please come to the back lobby. Our video screen is right on the fireplace on having a presentation. Once that's over, it'll be opening doors to the theater. Mr. Lincoln awaits.
Enter the theater for Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. We'd like to tell you the story of an unlikely friendship that transformed America forever.
We saw ourselves gradually lifted from the depths of slavery to the heights of liberty and manhood. Though we waited long, we saw all this and more.
Abraham Lincoln is known as the Great Emancipator, but the moniker wasn't earned overnight. It would take the tireless work of the abolitionist movement led by Frederick Douglass, who himself was born enslaved, to guide Lincoln towards the cause of freedom.
I am alike familiar with the whip and chain of slavery, and the lash and sting of public neglect and scorn, that my back is marked with the one, and my soul is fettered with the other.
After years of opposition, these two giants would find common ground and change the course of history. 10 years before the Emancipation Proclamation was enacted,
if all earthly power were given me, I should not know what to do as to the existing institution.
Oh, had I the ability, and could I reach the nation's ear, I would today pour out a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder.
Frederick Douglass never had a pair of pants or shoes until he was about 6 or 7 years old. He would sleep head first in an old corn sack with his feet hanging out on cold winter nights to try and keep himself warm.
Teaching the enslaved to read was illegal, so young Frederick secretly traded what little food he had in exchange for reading lessons.
It just shows how much he understood how education was going to be his key to freedom.
And a key to freedom it was. At the age of 20, Douglass made a daring escape and went north, settling in Massachusetts. There he soared. From orator,
"The one cannot be truly free, while the other is a slave,"
to newspaper editor,
"Truth is of no color,"
and best-selling author.
From that moment, I understood the pathway from slavery to freedom.
He was the central voice of the abolitionist movement.
He had this natural gift for communication. He was eloquent. He was charismatic.
There wasn't a venue, a building large enough to hold people who wanted to hear him.
Would you have me argue that man is entitled to liberty? That he is the rightful owner of his own body? Must I argue the wrongfulness of slavery? At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed.
Much of Douglass's irony was directed towards Washington, D.C. and Abraham Lincoln, the anti-slavery president who took office just as the Civil War began in 1861.
Anti-slavery is very different than being an abolitionist. It was very gradual that most anti-slavery candidates believed in the abolition of slavery.
I do not suppose that ultimate extinction would occur in less than 100 years at the least.
That would have put the end to slavery in 1958. And for Frederick Douglass, that's outrageous.
Mr. Lincoln is quite a genuine representative of American prejudice, and far more concerned for the preservation of slavery.
Douglass was relentless in his fight for freedom, and with the steady drumbeat of the abolitionist movement in his ear, Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved people in the southern states, and for the first time, making it legal for all black men to fight in the Civil War. These new soldiers injected the Union Army with much-needed manpower, but still, they faced discrimination and disparity.
Douglass is so outraged that he makes a trip to D.C. and decides he wants to meet with Lincoln himself.
To his surprise, Lincoln agreed to see him immediately.
He was ushered up past all of the people that were waiting to see Lincoln that day. And just imagine this visual of this black man just bounding up the steps and people are looking at him like, who is that?
Lincoln begins the conversation and he says, "Hello, Mr. Douglass," essentially. "It's good finally to meet you. I've read your writings a lot. I know you've been very critical of me."
Their one-on-one left a lasting impression on both men, and Lincoln vowed to improve the conditions for black soldiers.
My whole interview with the president was gratifying and did much to assure me that slavery would not survive the war and that the country would survive both slavery and war.
A year later, it is Lincoln who needs Douglass's help.
He feels he's going to lose re-election, essentially says, "I need you. I think the war is going badly."
Lincoln entrusted Douglass with creating a plan for aiding the escape of enslaved people from rebel territory so that they could join the Union cause.
Douglass writes a detailed letter to Lincoln spelling out his vision of these special forces.
He did not let me feel for a moment that there was any difference in the color of our skins. The president is a most remarkable man.
With Douglass's support, Lincoln would go on to turn the tide of the war and win re-election. The following year, Douglass returned to Washington once more to attend the inauguration.
Now in this multitude of elite of the land, I felt myself a man among men.
It's the first time a president devotes most of the speech to African Americans.
1/8 of the whole population were colored slaves.
Frederick Douglass heard his words and his language in Lincoln's address.
Until every drop of blood drawn with the lash shall be paid by another drawn with the sword.
The work that he had done over so many years, he was now hearing this at a very important moment in time in the nation's history.
Douglass is invited to the White House for a reception, sees Douglass enter and yells out,
"Here comes my friend, Frederick Douglass. There is no man in the country whose opinion I value more than yours."
Mr. Lincoln, that was a sacred effort.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom.
Frederick Douglass spoke truth to power, and he never stopped fighting for his people, and he understood that the struggle continued. He said, without struggle,
there is no progress. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will.
And now, here is Walt Disney to talk a little more about the nation's 16th president, Abraham Lincoln.
Ever since I was a youngster, I've had a great personal admiration for Abraham Lincoln. So when we decided to bring to Disneyland's visitors some great moments in Mr. Lincoln's life, we began an exhaustive research. We wanted to bring to the people of today the inspiring words of the man who held this nation together during its moment of greatest crisis, the Civil War. To start with, we were fortunate in being able to secure this life mask of the 16th president. How do we get this, Blaine?
This is actually a copy of an original life mask by the sculptor Leonard Volk.
Before Lincoln was president?
Before Lincoln was president.
Before he had a beard?
That's right.
During our exhaustive research into Lincoln's life, we studied his mannerisms, his gestures, and even his voice characteristics to create a faithful likeness of this honored man. The final result is so lifelike that you might find it hard to believe. Now let's go into the Opera House and listen carefully to the words of Mr. Lincoln, spoken by him a century ago, but which still apply today to free men everywhere.
If you would now please pass through the doors leading to our theater, we welcome you to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln.
All right, folks, it's showtime. I'd like to invite you over to the back lobby. I'll be opening the doors to the theater momentarily. But safety first, folks. There's a red line right inside this car, but make sure you stand on the far side of this red line. This red line, because these automatic doors will be opening out towards you. Again, as a friendly reminder, open food and beverages are not permitted inside the theater. So if you do have, please either finish it, discard it, or place it right inside your backpack. We also like to reserve the center portion of our theaters for our guests in wheelchairs, ECVs, and members of their party. You can access these seats by going through the center doors right below the brass eagle. Now as you enter the theater, please watch your step. We do have step ramps on uneven floors inside. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does the reason you say stand behind the red line because somebody being banged by the doors?
No, because when the doors open, you're going to be hit by the doors.
No, but has everybody walked into the door and the doors just slammed them in the face?
Yeah, it would. That's why you have to be very careful. So stay behind the red light. Don't enter until the doors are fully open, please. and a warm welcome to the Disneyland Opera House, folks. Not to preserve the dignity of this presentation, we ask a few things from you. That there be no eating, no drinking, and no smoking while inside this theater. Also, folks, for courtesy for all the wonderful guests around you, please no flash photographies, no video lighting inside, no cell phones for me, please. Now, during the presentation, if you need to leave early for any reasons, no worries, folks. The police use the exit doors on the far right side of the theater. Even the exact same doors should be used at the conclusion of our presentation. Now, our original presentation first debuted in 1964 New York's World Fair. At that time, Walt Disney introduced 4 new attractions. It's a Small World, the Carousel of Progress, which is still played over inside Disney World, the Magic Skyway, and of course, great moments with Mr. Lincoln, which came to Disneyland only 1 year later in 1965. Now, this being one of Disney's treasures, not only because Mr. Lincoln happened to be the very first human audio animatronics. The original presentation was directed by Walt Disney himself. So folks, to the magic of Disney, I want everyone to sit back and let's all enjoy the great moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. This was the American dream, the prayer for the future. But that golden goal was not to be had without cost. The American way was not gained in a day. It was born in adversity, forged out of conflict, perfected and proven only after long experience and trial. In all of history, no man was dedicated to this dream more than the 16th President of these United States, Abraham Lincoln. Here in his own words is what he once wrote about himself. For at that time, very few people outside Illinois knew very much about this man from the prairie.
I was born February 12th. 1809, in Hardin County, Kentucky. My father removed from Kentucky to what is now Spencer County, Indiana, in my 8th year. It was a wild region, with many bears and other wild animals still in the woods. There I grew up. I was large for my age, and had an axe put into my hands at once. And from that to my 23rd year, was almost constantly handling that most useful instrument. I think that the aggregate of all my schooling did not amount to 1 year. At 21, I came to Illinois. Thought of trying to study law. Rather thought I could not succeed at that without better education. I borrowed some law books, took them home, and went at it in good earnest. In 1854, the law profession had almost superseded the thought of politics in my mind, when the repeal of the Missouri Compromise aroused me as I had never been before. What I have done since then is pretty well known. If any personal description of me is thought desirable, it may be said I am in height, 6 feet 4 inches, nearly, lean in flesh, weighing on an average of 180 pounds, dark complexion, with coarse black hair and gray eyes, and no other marks or brands recollected. Yours very truly, A. Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln became president faced with the terrible threat of civil war, a thing he dreaded, yet a calamity he was prepared to meet if he must.
Without union, the Constitution is only a piece of paper. I know there is a God, and that he hates injustice and slavery. I see the storm coming. I know his hand is in it. If he has a place and work for me, and I think he has, I believe I'm ready. And with God's help, I shall not fail.
April 12, 1861, Fort Sumter. The cannon spoke for war. Civil war, violent, devastating. Now had come the reckoning, the supreme test that would decide whether a republic founded on liberty could survive the terrible strife of men's passions.
Two brothers on their way, two brothers on their way, two brothers on their way. One wore blue and one wore gray. One wore blue and one wore gray as they marched along their way. The fife and drum began to play, all on a beautiful morning. One was gentle, one was kind. One was gentle, one was kind. One came home, one stayed behind. A cannonball don't pay no mind. A cannonball don't pay no mind, if you're gentle or if you're kind. It don't think of the folks behind, all on a beautiful morning. All on a beautiful morning.
87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure.
10 brief sentences, so simple, so direct. Abraham Lincoln had not expected his words to live beyond their temporary moment, but time and history would dictate otherwise. And so today, his Gettysburg Address is immortal, a rich and treasured part of our country's heritage. We pay tribute here not to a man who lived a century ago, but to an individual who lives today in the hearts of all freedom-loving people. His prophetic words are as valid for our time as they were for his. And now, the skills of the sculptor and the talents of the artist will let us relive great moments with Mr. Lincoln.
The world has never had a good definition of the word liberty. And the American people just now are much in want of one. We all declare for liberty, but in using the same word, we do not all mean the same thing. What constitutes the bulwark of our liberty and independence? It is not our frowning battlements, our bristling sea coasts. These are not our reliance against tyranny. Our reliance is in the love of liberty, which God has planted in our bosoms. Our defense is in the preservation of the spirit which prizes liberty as the heritage of all men, in all lands.
These are so cute.
Tenemos las fotos ahí. Venga, Freddy. Thank you.
Next slide, the second one up.
¿Quieres que te la tome?
No worries. If you want me to take it, I can take it.
Oh,
¿Qué no lo tomas?
All right, everyone go ahead and look right over here. Ready, 3, 2, 1.
Arya, Disney party.